information for all of us pertaining to what we've been talking about. But we would you and I, Anita and Jim, will be leading up the county project, and 1 week from yesterday, April 7th, we will be having a national conference call. And anybody that's interested in starting up some groups or learning more about how to get your neighbors and your community involved, just send an email saying County Project in the subject line. You can contact us via our website at freedomreigns.us, and we will get you hooked up and lined up with the call information. And that call will be on April the 7th at 7 p.m. Central. Anita, you have got so much information, and you are coming up again with us here on another show. But I'd like to get to some of the callers because we are down to an hour.
Okay.
The show. So let's go ahead, and we're going to start with Susan. I'm seeing her up now, hopefully. Susan,
is that me?
Yeah, it's you. Go ahead.
Okay. I think it was your last program. I found out about your radio program and heard Drake talking about whatever legal thing he did on February 7th. Don't exactly understand what that is, but it was from a spiritual, progressive website that I pay attention to, a spiritual one, which gets into politics a little bit, what's going on. And I was just shocked, what you were talking about, in a good way. And so I'm on the left, and my bona fides, though, are that a million years ago when I was young, I was a member of the Jungle Society. Now, that's such a secret bit of information that I've never even told my husband. But I was pleasantly surprised, because I have the feeling that my feeling is if government has to be like this, I'd rather have no government. It's that bad. And so that's where I'm at, and I was real impressed. But in addition to that, I'd like to share with you, because one of the things that we pay attention to is channeling. And what I have been hearing for quite some time is you really don't need to worry about who is going to win the presidential election, because by the time we get ready for people to take office, there won't be any politician around. You hear what I'm saying? And I'm listening to you, and I like a lot of the things that you say. Not everything. But I like a lot of things. But I remember, I was such a political activist on the right that I used to run the American Opinion bookstore. And, I was very, very, very active, but I've changed a lot since then. So that's just my bona fides. But I want to ask you, what would you think and I know that these politicians take away all our freedom, on the left and the right. Both the Democrats and the Republicans both do that in different ways. And what if we just took all of these restrictions on our freedoms and we just made one law that people can do anything they want to as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, including the environment?
That's common law. That's what we're trying to go back to.
Okay, well, I hear you, and that sounds good. But yeah, and I just like to discuss that and get people thinking about how that might work for us.
It's common to almost all societies, all religions.
It's nature's law.
Oh, well, no, I have heard, and I know people on the left and people on the right, but it's really our politicians that are the problem. You know,
well, I agree with that.
And so there really are problem. Every time there is a problem, well, okay, we'll make this law to restrict this freedom, and we'll, you know, and I do believe that in order to make a better world, we have to start getting along a lot better on the left and the right. And I really like what Drake has to say about that. You know, but I'm a lot different than you folks. Trust me.
Well, we don't have common law. We don't even have constitutional law right now. You're living in commercial law, and that's why everything seems so strange to you, because they have changed our legal system to be one of commerce. It's all about commerce. It's not about...
I agree with you, and I call that the mega wealthy criminals. The really wealthy, the Federal Reserve people.
Yes.
You know, definitely. I don't think we need money. Personally, I think, you know, we could, if we took the native people the way they do things, they don't use money. They have a society based on sharing or giving, a giving society, and that worked for them until we started killing them all. But we didn't start killing them all. That was for the reason there were so many atrocities against the Native Americans was because wealthy people wanted to steal their land. You know, I mean, I've studied it, you know, and it's quite shocking what happened to those people. I mean, we always go to war because they convince us to go to war, you know. They make a lot of money off of war. They get to steal forever, you know. All right. I don't want to argue with you. I mean, I have to learn how to not do that. But I just want to say that I like the program a lot. You know, the idea that you're going right along what has been predicted for me, you know, that if what Drake says comes about, we won't have any politicians. They're going to be running for the hills by the time, and then we can just create our own government the way we want it. Okay? And that's all I have to say, I guess.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you, Susan, for calling in.
Thank you for letting me speak.
No problem. Thank you. We have another caller on the line. Again, I believe this call is for you, Drake. I'm trying to bring him up now. And this is Mark out of Georgia. Mark, your mic is open.
God bless you. I guess you're tired of questions about when are things going to happen, but you have meticulously checked out things, and so I can take it in good faith that something's going to happen, but it does not in any way cause us to have any legitimacy to disown responsibility. It enhances it, right, in terms of us doing what we got to do, right?
Right, that's
exactly.
Yeah, I've been explaining to people that there is a comeuppance coming, but there's been no end of complications. It's kind of like my roommate who took 3 days to do a job that was supposed to take 4 hours, and that's pretty common for him because when he works on things, complications are to be expected. So if I understand correctly, the reason why things haven't happened yet is because basically they know that the end is inevitable, but they're going out scratching and clawing, hoping that they can stir up something that'll keep up their system. Is that basically correct?
primarily what they're doing is they would like to have a shooting war so that they can have a reason and an excuse to try to take over. That would be martial law. The only trouble with that is that the military has already stated quite clearly that they're not going to go along with that. That's an official statement, and the troops have stated that they will desert if that comes about. So they're not going to have a military at all to deal with if they go about things the wrong way. The problem they've got and what they're doing is twofold. Problem is they're running out of money to pay the thugs and whomever might want to mess with your internet and that sort of stuff. The second problem is that they have basically lost the primary battle. And that process should be completed in about 3 weeks from what I heard last. Now, whether anything happens here and whether anything happens in your neighborhood by that point, who knows? Now, the other part of it is you're not going to have the white knight coming over the hill to save the day. Mighty Mouse ain't going to show up. But what you're going to have is you're going to have announcements all over the internet like crazy just before you get an official announcement that, hey, guess what? They did it. A few citizens decided to stand up and face the fire, and we are now a free nation. Now, what that's going to require is the problem. People are going to have to change their societal basis from accumulation of everything they can get their hands on, even if they got to steal it, to one of being openly supportive of other people, even if they might not deserve it right at that point, along with helping as many people as is possible to get the best results. Our government is not going to be destroyed. That's not the option. The option is that it's going to be realigned. The structure is going to change. There's going to be many great changes in both law, civility, the ideologies that the bad guys have been putting in our kids' heads in schools, etc. All of this stuff has to be dealt with. If there's some way that you can help deal with that, you're going to be a valuable person. Just that simple. And somebody will supply you with 3 meals a day while you're busy in there taking care of some kind of legal gobbledygook or straightening out the educational system or whatever it is your expertise calls for you to do. And that's basically what's going to happen. It's going to be up to the people once more to turn the swords into plowshares to a great extent. This does not mean we're not going to have a military. This does not mean that things are going to necessarily drastically change in some ways. A lot of ways they will. Some ways they're going to stay the same. All the dinks, miscreants, pedophiles, and other assorted crooks that we have been dealing with are going bye-bye, one way or the other. So, yes. You got about 3 weeks or so, supposedly. This is what, everybody's been saying. And we'll have to wait and see because nobody, unless your crystal ball is a lot clearer than mine, I'm going to wait and see. But in the meantime, I'm putting my garden in. I'm going to get ready on my end so in case you can't get groceries, I can at least eat.
Exactly.
So do you know anything about these reports that there's been a coup in China, or is there any validation of that, or is that just rumors?
The changes in China have been of an official type to include high office. Some people have gone to prison. The new, and this has been happening over a period of time, the new Maoist movement has been being taken down, and it's not a question in the sense of freedom of speech that it's been that everybody's been led to believe. It's more an ideology that's well past its prime and doesn't fit any kind of anything today at all. This was the olden days of absolute control and capability of absolute control. There no longer is that capability without turning everything off. And so far, China's still online, and their phones probably still work. I don't know. I don't call internationally to China, but I would suggest that China TV is still on. And if there was a coup, I guarantee you some way or another, someone would figure out a way to get that news out to the world.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't believe in a coup.